hustling here. When they come back home, you're the first person to go after them, begging for one charge. But you sit there and badge them. It's not okay, guys. It's not okay to badge people who are here in the UAE. Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl E to the O to the A. You already know. If you don't know yet, auntie, uncle, you are new to this channel, so please go on and hit that red subscribe button below to become part of this very beautiful family. Don't forget to hit your notification bell too, so that when I upload a new video, you're going to know and come and watch. So I have been uploading videos now every day except yesterday because I had poor internet connection and for some reason my video could not go up. So this is something that I've told myself to do for the whole of this month, to upload a video every day. It's a whole challenge that I'm willing to challenge myself. I hope that you guys come to watch the content that I am going to be preparing for you guys. So guys, today we are going to be talking about the UAE, United Arab Emirates, otherwise known as Dubai, as everyone commonly calls it. By the way, Dubai is just an emirate in the UAE. It is not a country. It is not even the capital of the UAE. The capital of the UAE is Abu Dhabi. So guys, don't get it twisted. Today we are going to be talking about some of those things that people have told you about the UAE, which are totally not true, which are lies. We're going to be talking about some of those lies that have made you to stay back in your comfort zone wherever you are and to think that the UAE is hell, or is the devil's yard. So these lies have been spread by a few individuals who might have lived here and who might have had a bad experience here. And some of this information is being spread by people who have never even been here, and that is the weird part of it, that you have never ever been to a country, but you have all the information about it. How is that even possible? I cannot sit here and talk about the USA. I've never been to the USA. I cannot sit here and talk about Britain. I've never been to Britain. So how can you sit back in Cameroon and talk about the UAE when you have never been there, based on a hearsay information or hearsay information? That is really very bad. So today in this video, I'm going to try my best to bring out some of those things that I personally think are lies, because I have seen them for myself and I've experienced them for myself. Things that I personally think that are lies, things that I used to believe while I was in Cameroon as well, from the information that I got, and some of those things that you should not even listen to. Okay, if you're considering to travel to the UAE, you should watch this video right up to the end. If you're considering to come here and struggle and hustle for your life, you should watch this video right up to the end. I'll be uploading another video that is going to tell you what you should know before coming here, or what you should think about before coming here. But this video is just talking about some of those lies that have spread about the UAE. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is the fact that people have said everyone here does an unskilled job. Like, the myth in Cameroon and other African countries is that any African who migrates to the UAE comes here to do an unskilled job. Let me clear the air on this. If you come here with good certification, which is internationally recognized, if you come here with good working experience, which is internationally recognized, if you come here with a great skill and good knowledge about your subject matter and the profession that you are specialized in, trust me, if you're perseverant, you will get a job in your field. A lot of people have made people to understand that if you come here, you're only a nanny, you're a cleaner, you're just, that is the only job that you can find here, which is a total lie. The truth is that learned people come here from Africa, but most frequently they come with degrees that maybe a subject, like a degree in biology, a degree in physics, a degree in law, a degree in philosophy, and all of that is not helpful when you want to look for a job in the job market out here. If you have a business degree, maybe say a degree in finance, a degree in accounting, if you have ACCA, if you have a medical degree, if you have things that are substantial and things that work with the job market here, trust me, if you're perseverant, you get a job in your field. The truth is that some people come here who have ordinary levels, who have advanced level, who have never worked before. So even in Cameroon, do you expect somebody with an ordinary level to work in the bank? Do you expect somebody with an advanced level to work in a manufacturing industry as a manager? You don't expect that. So why do people expect the unexpected from the UAE? If you come here with none of that, you have to start from the base. You have to submit yourself under leadership to grow in your field. People have come here with no academic knowledge, have started as cleaners and have ended in good positions in companies. Why? Because they have been submissive and decided to learn something, to work and have an on-the-job training in a particular field. You can still come here with all the knowledge that you have, with all the certificates that you have, but you're unable to find a job in your field. It is okay for you to divert, to struggle and find yourself in another field and grow in that. The good thing about the UAE is that growth is inevitable. If you are good in what you do and if you work diligently in a company where you serve, even if you're a cleaner, the truth is that you're going to rise up someday. You're going to be able to plan yourself. If you're good to people who work around you, if you're good to people who work in the company and who come out of the company, you're going to find yourself in a better position than where you landed when you just came to the UAE. So I want to first of all clear the air. It is not that you must come here and pick up an unskilled job. It depends on what you bring from Africa. And it depends on your mindset as well. It depends on how pressured you are to get a job. There are people who come here with their own money, who come here and who are prepared to stay one whole year to look for a job or a career in their field. They have the money to pay their accommodation, they have the money to do their visa changes, to persevere and get a job in their field. But most frequently we come from Africa and we don't have that time, we don't have that money and that resources to sit and begin to struggle to get a job in our field. So we roll along with what we find to be able to make ends meet, which is totally okay. But just clear that from your head. It's not everybody who comes here that does an unskilled job. People come here and do perfectly skilled jobs and earn good salaries. Second of all is the other lie that everyone in the UAE lives in a bed space. Let me first of all say this. Living in a bed space is not a problem. You who is in Africa or in Cameroon, you have decided to stay maybe in your father's house and sleep maybe on top of your king-size bed in your mother's room, and you don't pay no bills, you don't pay nothing, and you're earning your 50,000 a month and you're comfortable with that. Don't badge somebody who has decided to leave all of those comforts, travel out of their comfort zone, and sleep on a dormitory school-size bed in order to make ends meet. Don't badge somebody else for taking a step that you are so scared to take. You have decided to stay in Cameroon, to rent your house for 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 in Bamenda, and you're okay, you're fine with it. You make your income per month is 50,000. Somebody else has decided to leave that comfort, to come here and discomfort themselves and make themselves feel bad and sleep in houses that they have not slept in the whole of their lives. There are people who have lived luxurious life in Cameroon. I don't think that there is any family there. There is just 2% of families in Cameroon that sleep in bunk beds. Everybody sleeps from birth in a big king-size bed. Maybe you share it with your brothers and sisters. For somebody to have left that kind of comfort, to come here in the UAE, sacrifice all of that and look for something for themselves, I don't see why you're batching them on the internet. Oh, they are living in bed spaces, they are living in bed spaces. You are living in Africa, you're sleeping on your king-size bed, you're making your 50,000 francs in a month. That person has decided to come to the UAE, sleep on a dormitory-sized bed, and make 300,000 francs in a month. And you're batching that person from the comfort of your home. Are you serious? That is just what I wanted to first of all put out there about bed spaces. Let people make their choices. There are people who can afford to live in better places in this country, but they decide to live in bed spaces because they want to raise money for themselves. You don't know why anybody came here. So there is no need for you sitting back there and saying people are suffering here. They enjoy their suffer. You are suffering too in your own country, in your own way. So let people suffer their suffer. Okay, let me go back to the point. Not everybody in the UAE lives in a bed space. A bed space, if you don't know what that is practically like a room which has how they call it in dormitory school, bon and down bed, which has this dormitory up and down beds. That's how the room is. Depending on the amount you pay, that's how clean your bed space is going to be, or organized your bed space is going to be. So that's what a bed space is basically. People choose to live there, probably because their income permits them to only live there, or maybe because they don't have the finances to afford a better place. You cannot just come here to look for a job and you want to live in an apartment. You have to sacrifice that time, struggle and live in that bed space or wherever if you can patch with somebody. But most cases, people don't have people to patch with. So they prefer to pay the small money, live in the bed space till they get a job where they can pay a better bed space or they can get a partition for themselves. I don't see anything wrong in that. But the truth is that not everybody lives in a partition, not everybody lives in a bed space. People live in homes in the UAE. I don't know whoever brought that idea back in Cameroon, you know, because some few individuals have come here, have had a very rough time, have had a difficult time, have not been able to land jobs for themselves, and have gone back to Cameroon and they have spread all the lies. Because they came here looking for jobs, they stayed in bed spaces. They saw fellow Cameroonians or Nigerians or Ghanaians staying in bed spaces. They go back to Cameroon and say, everybody in Dubai lives in a bed space. You suffer, you struggle, you do this, you do that. Everybody is a cleaner. Everybody is a security guard. Everybody is a nanny. You cannot get a good job in Dubai. Don't even go there. You are going to suffer. That is the information that they keep out there. They give to fellow people in Cameroon who might be thinking to migrate to the UAE, which is a whole lie. They don't tell you the truth because they have not experienced another side of the UAE. That is what they have experienced. I cannot blame them as well because that is all of what they have experienced. Some other people as well who are still living in the UAE, who are making their money in the UAE, give bad vibes about the UAE to people who want to come here. Maybe some of them do that because they don't want other people that they know to come and really suffer the way they suffered before making it. Some of them honestly give their opinion. Like how I will always honestly give my opinion when somebody asks me about the UAE. And some people just give you the bad vibe because they don't want you to even come here. They just give you the bad vibe about the UAE, which is not true. So not everybody in the UAE lives in the bed space. The third thing that I'm going to come to talk about is the fact that, in fact, this one personally I've experienced. A lot of people have asked me terrible questions about it, is having a baby in the UAE. There is this myth or there is this stereotype, I don't know if I can say stereotype or I should say myth, that people have created about the UAE that has made other people to believe that you're not allowed to have a baby here. First of all, the UAE does not permit you to get pregnant when you are not married. So if you are not married and you're pregnant, you will either have to go for backside, enter veterinary home, enter for my 4, get marriage certificate by hook, by crook, show up for them, or you should be legally married if you're pregnant. So if you're not married, you don't have any document to prove that you're married, but you're pregnant in the UAE, you will have to exit the UAE because it will be very difficult for you to attend antenatal. And if you get in contact with the police, they will repatriate you or they will deport you because this country is mostly governed by Sharia law and Islamic laws, which does not permit a woman to get pregnant out of wedlock. So that is the case. If you're married here in the UAE, you're living with your husband, you're pregnant, there is no problem with that, guys. I don't know where all of these lies are coming from. There is no problem with that. You can get pregnant as a married woman in the UAE. Secondly, you can have your baby in the UAE. If you're married and you're pregnant, you can have your baby in the UAE. The truth is that a lot of people in Cameroon have seen others who are pregnant in the UAE who get heavy, maybe like 6-7 months, and they travel back to Cameroon, to Ghana, to Nigeria, to have their babies, leave their babies there, and come back to the UAE. That is because probably they don't have help here. It is so difficult and it's so expensive to get somebody to look after your baby here in the UAE. It is expensive, one, to have your baby in the UAE. To give birth to a baby in the UAE is not bread and chocolate. It is very expensive, especially if you have a C-section. It is terribly expensive. So most frequently people just decide to run away from that cost, which is very okay. Secondly, when you have your baby in the UAE, the UAE does not give their nationality. The UAE does not offer their nationality to other nationalities. So if you have your baby here in the UAE, your baby is a Cameroonian, is a Nigerian, is a Ghanaian. Your baby is the nationality of his or her parents. So you have to make your baby a passport, you have to make your baby a visa. Most frequently, that is a whole process. People decide to dodge that process, go back to their countries, have their babies, and run away from all of that stress which is going to meet them. Thirdly, people have jobs here, which is going to be very difficult if they have to keep babies here. So they decide to go back to Cameroon. If they have their parents there, they decide to have their baby there, leave somebody, maybe pay a nanny in Cameroon, which is much more affordable. Pay a nanny to look after their baby, and they come here and they continue their hustle, which is no problem. Well, some other people who don't want to take that route, like me and my husband, will decide to go through all of those hooks to have a baby here. But it is possible. You can have your baby here. The good thing is, if you have a good job which provides you very good insurance that covers your maternity, you might end up having a baby at less than no cost. You might even have your baby for nothing and pay nothing in the hospital if your insurance is very good. So yeah, that is the case. Or if your husband has a good job and you're under a spouse visa and you have insurance from your husband's job which covers your maternity, you can have your baby here for nothing, or for something even cheaper than what you have your baby in Cameroon. So most frequently, if you have that kind of insurance, there's no need going out of the country to have your baby in Cameroon or in Africa, because your baby will still have your nationality anyways. Most frequently, people who have the resources decide to travel to the US, to the UK, to France and other countries, Canada, to have their babies, to give their babies nationality. Yes, that happens in the UAE. I know some of you guys are looking like, people leave the UAE, go and give birth in the US and come back. Why not? Why do you guys think that this country is so different? Do you know that people equally live in the US who go back to Cameroon and keep their babies, who have their babies in the US and go back to Cameroon and keep their babies? Because the daycare is expensive. Because having a nanny is expensive. It's not bonbon. It is not bread and sardine. So guys, these are just things that you have to understand about the UAE. You can have a baby here if you can afford to have a baby here. You can keep your baby in the UAE if you can afford to keep your baby in the UAE. If it's not going to disturb your job, and if you're going to have the resources to pay somebody to look after your baby while you work. If not, it is very okay for you to take your baby out, take your baby back home, take it to your mother or whosoever who will be with open arms waiting for your baby to look after. Why take yourself through that stress? So guys, yeah, that's the case. Yeah, so in general, these are just a few points that I could think about, but there are so many myths in the UAE. Yeah, there was another one that I used to hear about before coming here, that you cannot live with a man in the house, like husband and wife cannot live together. You would be living in your own place and your husband must be living in his own place. Two of you guys cannot live together. That is a fat lie. If you're married, you guys can own an accommodation, you guys can live together, you guys can rent a place and live together, in as much as you can prove that you both are married. And recently they changed the laws. People can cohabit. People who are in a relationship can cohabit. Somebody can live with their boyfriends now. Yes, the UAE has permitted that. There was a law that was passed recently that allows people to live with their partners, like who are not married, or married couples to live together, which is okay. So that again was another myth that people used to take and run with in Cameroon. And I have met other nationalities, African nationalities, that have equally spoken about this myth. So Africans, please don't believe everything that you hear about the UAE. Some of them are very huge lies. Some of them are true. Some of them are very huge lies. Guys, don't believe everything that you hear about the UAE. It is not true. Everybody who comes here does not see the two sides of things. Everybody who comes here does not have the opportunity to live the two sides, or to live both ways. So they go with one way and they spread the information with one way without knowing the other way, which might be because they don't know sincerely, or which might be because they just want to pass the bad vibe. So guys, I hope this video was helpful to you and you learned something about the UAE and you change your stereotypes or what you have in mind about this country, and you understand it more better. People are hustling here. When they come back home, you're the first person to go after them, begging for one charge. But you sit there and badge them. It's not okay, guys. It's not okay to badge people who are here in the UAE. So guys, in my next video, I'm going to be talking about what you should know before migrating to the UAE, what you should think about before coming to this country. So I hope this video was of help to you. I hope you share it to those who might need it. Leave a comment below of some of the things that you heard about the UAE Let me give you my own opinion from what I've experienced, if it is true or if it is false. Thank you guys for watching this video right up to the end. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Hit the like button too if you like this video. Thank you for watching, and God bless you. Mwah.